playlist here. Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Meg. I work here at Homebase, and my job is really to help our customers understand how to unlock all of the awesome benefits of Homebase, whether that is finding more time in your day, building a happy team, or even just attracting really great talent. So I'm going to be the moderator today. Before we get started, I'm just going to cover a quick few housekeeping items. So for today, we've set aside about 20 minutes for our panel discussion, and then we have another 10 minutes set aside for your questions. If you do have a question, please just indicate that with the raise hand button. You should see that at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And we'll call on those questions one at a time. Alternatively, you also have the option to just drop your question in the chat. We're going to be doing our best to get to everyone today. And with that, let's kick things off. Let's get started. I'm going to be introducing you to our speakers. So we have Terri here. She is a seasoned product leader. She's really been on a mission to help empower small businesses, help them harness the power of technology. And she leads the team behind Homebase's top-rated payroll solution that's trusted by more than 100,000 small businesses. And her expertise has really been honed at some really cool Fortune 500 companies like Intuit. That's where she spearheaded product development for their QuickBooks payroll solution. And she has a super, super deep understanding of small businesses and is here to help you grow. And then I also want to introduce you to Charlie. He is a visionary leader. He's at the forefront of shaping the future of finance for small businesses and their teams. And under his leadership, Homebase has made on-demand pay available to more than 2 million hourly workers. That's actually more than the entire US workforce of Walmart. And he has a ton of experience in the fintech sector. He's worked at a ton of disruptive companies like Wave HQ, Acorns, and On Deck Capital. And he's very dedicated to innovation and making financial tools accessible to everybody. So welcome, Terri. Welcome, Charlie. I am excited to chat with you both today. And let's kick it off and talk a bit about why a great pay experience matters in today's market. And I'll hand it over to Terri to get us started.
Thanks, Meg. I really appreciate the kind introduction. I'm very excited to be here today with Charlie and you. But yeah, so it's no secret that small business owners are stretched. They're doing more with less, tight budgets, tight resources, increased costs, and they don't have a lot of time in the day to get things done. So when we talk about offering a great pay experience, we're really talking about the time and effort that goes into running payroll. The output of that experience is the experience that your employees have with getting paid. So done right, you unlock time by streamlining your processes, but you also control costs by avoiding payroll errors or running into compliance issues.
Absolutely. And Charlie, what's your perspective here?
Sure. Well, thank you very much, Meg, for the warm introduction. Not even my mom says things that nice about me. So look, I'd say having a great pay experience is really critically important in today's market. In fact, hourly workers are telling us more and more it's really the deciding factor for where and how they spend their time and where they earn. I think for these workers, they're trying to find a blend between what's important to them and their values, and also where they can find day-to-day stability in the work and earnings that they need to survive. And I think as a small business owner, it's really worthwhile stepping back and just asking yourself the question, why is it important for me? I think there's really two reasons. The first is, we are competing against big co. All of the large organizations, whether it's Walmart, Amazon, or Uber, really have dedicated resources to improving the pay experience across their entire ecosystem. And as small business owners, we're scrappy, we're resourceful, but we might not have the things like the tech and IT budgets to be able to support those things. And so, that's one of the areas where Homebase really is excited to serve and support our small business customers and level that playing field. And then I think the other piece of this is really, once you've attracted an employee, you want to get the best out of them. And I think stress is really the thing that we hear from hourly workers is what distracts them on a day-to-day from being focused on their job, juggling bills, daily expenses, debt. And sometimes that causes them to look away from the work that they're doing and look for other places to earn. And so, you're making a huge investment when you source an employee and bring them on board, and you want to get your return in terms of their focus and their dedication. And so Homebase really is now offering two forms of on-demand pay that really give the employees the flexibility to access their funds either through their existing bank account or through a Homebase debit card product offering. And the results, I think, are pretty clear. What we're seeing is that employees who are using on-demand pay are 31% more likely to be in their job 9 months after they've started versus those who don't. So I think really the proof is in the pudding.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that perspective. I think, it just underlines that this 2-week paycheck period is really not working for a lot of hourly workers who are stretched. And, it's a difficult financial reality that I think a lot of people are facing right now. Let's go to our next question. This one is for Terri. Can you talk a bit about, what are some of the challenges that small businesses face when it comes to payroll? And how can automation or technology help them overcome that?
Yeah, great question. So automating payroll really is a game changer. We know today a lot of small business owners are spending a significant amount of time on work that can be easily automated. They're spending up to 63 hours every year just on running payroll alone, which is amazing. And it's not just about time savings, it's also about the peace of mind that you get knowing that everything is going to be accurate. If you've ever made a mistake running payroll, it's not a good feeling. It can lead to some seriously unhappy employees, not to mention compliance issues if you make mistakes in the process. So, but the other thing is you give your team peace of mind with it, that they're going to be paid, the right amount on time every time that you pay them. So you're ensuring both accuracy and compliance, and you're streamlining your critical processes. We're a little biased, not surprising, but we think Homebase Payroll is really a tool that you'll want to consider to make all of this easier. With Homebase Payroll, you can instantly convert your timesheets into hours and wages, automatically calculate your taxes, and send the right amounts to your team, but also to your state tax agencies and the IRS. So you head into payday knowing ahead of time that everything is covered.
63 hours is actually a lot. I feel like I heard someone internally say you could watch all of Game of Thrones in that time, which, depending who you are, you might prefer to use your time to watch Game of Thrones. You might prefer to focus on your business, but that's a pretty significant time investment. Charlie, for you, how do you think improved pay experiences can help with employee morale and retention? You touched on that a bit in your first answer, but I'd love to hear a bit more about that piece.
Yeah, I think it's really about the impact of the stress that employees are suffering and how that ultimately plays through to your business. Just looking at the data, over 50% of hourly workers say stress is causing them to be disengaged on their job. 60% of American employees in general are stressed about their finances. And so, we think that a future best pay experience really is attacking those two core issues that hourly workers face. And I think we really put them into action in two ways. The first is really bringing them simple tools to better understand their day-to-day earnings and finances. So, many small businesses are coming to Homebase really to help schedule, time track, and message their employees, but also some might not know that actually we built a really unique set of integrated tools within the app to enable them to better understand their earnings, also track their bills and expenses, and really just answer the question very simply, am I going to have enough cash to pay my bills this month? Am I going to have a shortfall? And so I think that's really one part of the experience that really helps to solve that core problem. And I think the other piece is simply bringing this idea of on-demand pay to your employees so that when they do have an issue, they do have stress or uncertainty, they're faced with a decision, they're really able to just tap their earnings already versus going to alternatives, which we've heard of everything from expensive credit cards, borrowing money from friends, payday loans, lots of things that you really don't want to have to do from a cost perspective or even from an effort perspective when you can have your earnings accessible to you really right there in the app. And so, I think it's really about creating that convenience and helping your employees deal with these little unexpected surprises in life. And I think what that means for the small business owner is this idea of on-demand pay really isn't just like a buzzword. it's really a powerful tool for helping your employees be most engaged and really getting the best out of them on their job, so they can really focus on your customers and your business and doing their job well, and not be kind of thinking about other things that are stressing them out on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I think we know a lot of hourly workers, especially, are quite young, and this might be their first experience with starting to manage their money and thinking about saving up for college, or, even if they're a bit older, just saving up for that emergency fund. And these aren't things that are always taught in school, and not taught well. So it's pretty exciting to be able to offer that. My next question is really for those on the call, if they're thinking about, how they can start integrating financial wellness benefits into their small business. How can they do that? And what's really the benefit for them in doing so?
That's for me, Meg, correct?
Yeah, again.
Yeah. Two in a row. Well, look, I think it really relates to my previous answer, which is just, I think it is really a tall order to ask a small business owner to run their business and also educate their employees, in financial wellness. And I think we all hope that we are able to impart that type of wisdom on let alone our hourly workers, our family and our friends. But I think for being realistic, time is at a real premium here for you and for your business. And so I think tools that can help your employees make simple trade-offs every day and really understand their circumstances with clarity is really what you can do for them to help them answer really simple questions like, am I going to be able to afford my bills? Am I going to have enough gas to get to work today and be able to cover those costs? And I think that kind of comes back to what we're hearing from hourly workers, which is that financial planning and education is really something that they're starting to seek in their employers, as they hear more about and learn more about this concept of flexible or on-demand pay. They're saying, hey, I want that. I want access to that. And, we hear all the time from hourly workers who are using our products, they use words like lifesaver and, godsend when they talk about, hey, I had this issue, I checked my bank account. I didn't have enough gas money to get to work. And so, we really think, particularly because it's a no effort, no cost solution for small businesses who use Homebase to offer, that it's really win-win. It directly impacts employee morale and retention, and your team is just more likely to stick with you. And, it doesn't cost you time, effort, or money to manage these programs.
Mm-hmm. And looking ahead, I'd love to talk a bit about what kind of trends we see coming down the pipeline. Terri, when you think about how compensation or pay experiences are going to be big in the next few years, how can small businesses prepare for what's changing, and what do you kind of see coming down the pipeline there?
Yeah. So I think there's a number of big changes that are coming to small business payday that we're already seeing to take shape. And we've been talking about that through some of our earlier comments, but Main Street is stepping into a pay experience for the modern age, really, one that's shaped by powerful technology and really purpose-built for small businesses and their teams. So the first change, and we've talked about this, and this one is not a surprise, but automation and AI-powered payroll is going to eliminate hours of work for small business owners. Introducing this kind of automation into the process is going to cut down on time and manual errors. We know today 76% of employees have made miscalculations running payroll. I'm actually surprised that's not higher. And we talked about the
76% admit that they've
yes, admit that's true.
Calculations.
Good point. Good point. And we mentioned the fact that 63 hours a year that you could be watching Game of Thrones, you're spending running payroll instead, which we know is not what people prefer to be doing. But another thing is that 31%, and I'm frankly surprised this one is not a lot higher. 31% say that time they spend on running payroll could be better spent on growing their business. So Homebase Payroll connects time tracking, with payroll, so that you don't have to spend as much time, exporting spreadsheets from one system, importing them into another one, or doing manual calculations yourself in your own spreadsheets. So really, we think this is what the future of payroll is going to look like. Charlie, how about you on this one?
Yeah, well, look, I think that the trends are quite clear here that the notion of the 2 week pay cycle is gradually going away, and I think more and more workers really are in this mode of getting paid right when they work. Their view is that, hey, I've earned these wages and I should have access to them, so I don't have to do unnatural things, make difficult trade-offs. And so I think our view is that in 3 years from now, it will be the norm, and that people will be demanding on-demand pay. And so that's really why we're trying to stay ahead of the curve here with two different types of on-demand pay products. One is a product we call Cash Out. Cash Out allows you to access your wages with your existing bank account up to $500 per pay period, and Homebase manages all the mechanics of the program. Customers can access the product for free, and really it's a no stress, no cost solution for the small business owner. And then the other product that we recently released into testing is called Homebase Money and Pay Any Day, and that's an even more flexible solution, which when paired with a Homebase debit card, gives you access to nearly 100% of your wages while still controlling for things like tips and taxes. That again is fully managed by Homebase at no cost to the employer. And we really think that this is a trend that is sort of irreversible at this point. And so our goal is really to invest in these products and really other tools that complement them, like bill tracking or cash flow management tools that we think bring together a fulsome solution that will help your employees gain financial confidence. And I think that will help them be, again, better employees and really for you, better resources for a much longer period of time.
Mm-hmm. And Terri, you had touched on automation and AI, which I think, I can't open the internet these days without seeing those words pop up. What about maybe talking a bit about some of the business insights or uncertainties that small businesses face and how that might change?
So I think we're really going to see radical transparency helping to build healthier teams and businesses. Owners are going to be, and workers are going to be able to access insights that eliminate uncertainty and enable them to make faster, better decisions. Traditionally business owners have faced a lot of variables when they're trying to anticipate their scheduling needs and their staffing costs. And Homebase is really changing this. So we integrate all parts of team management, everything from scheduling to timesheets to payroll to team communication. And we use predictive modeling to give owners a clear and precise picture of what their upcoming labor costs are going to be. We have one customer, Andy Summer. He's the owner and co-founder of Fourth and Nomad, a retail store in Houston. He knows this firsthand. So he's using Homebase to calculate exactly how much to spend on labor costs based on his sales. And he's also using Salesforce forecasting to anticipate longer-term staffing needs. So this helps him take the guesswork out of staffing and keep his labor costs on track. On the worker side of the house, we hear that about 28% of employees are saying, and Charlie talked about this, but financial stress is really a distraction for them at work. So with the tools that Homebase offers that paint a better financial picture for them, like the earnings tab and the bill tracking that we just launched, all in one app, which is conveniently, it's the same app that they use to be able to see their paychecks and their tax forms, like the W-2s and 1099. So this really helps reduce some of that stress for them at work and the distraction. So with these tools and insights, they're going to be able to better predict their earnings, but also their personal expenses, and adjust as on the fly as needed for some of these shortfalls.
Awesome.
Yeah, and
we
go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off. We have just about 1 minute left, so I'm just going to skip ahead to the last question here, and then we'll open up the floor for Q&A. But just to close things out, what steps can small businesses take today to start improving their pay experiences? Tips, best practices, would love to hear a bit about that before we go into the Q&A.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So the first one is to invest in payroll software like Homebase. to streamline your processes and minimize errors. You're going to be able to automate calculations, taxes, and reporting, which again translates into time savings for you. But even if you're not ready to use Homebase payroll, you can actually integrate your Homebase timesheets with your existing payroll software, and even that will start to save you a lot of time almost instantly. I'd also encourage businesses to get up to speed on your local tax and labor regulations in your state. So what you don't want to do is damage your employees' trust in the pay experience or run into penalties. So again, using a software like a tool like Homebase is really going to help you stay up to date with all of that. And finally, I encourage you to consider how you can get creative with competitive ways to offer value to your teams. So we know budget constraints are always going to be a reality, but as Charlie was saying, it doesn't mean you can't offer big business benefits like on-demand pay and some of the financial wellness tools that employees are needing to help them with their budgeting processes.
Yeah, I'd really build on that by just saying, look, there's an opportunity to really embrace this and turn things like on-demand pay into really a weapon for your business. It's a great selling point for workers as you're recruiting them. Ask them what's important about when they get paid. Share this idea of, hey, what if you could get paid whenever when you work for my business? And I think what you will find is an overwhelmingly positive response. And as we touched on, there's really no work, no risk to the small business owner. It's all pre-integrated. And so it's really a win-win that costs you nothing and makes your employees' life that much better.